Do you know how deaf people communicate on a day-to-day basis with the hearing world? Such as ordering coffee from Starbucks, going out to eat. Knowing that the UPS man is knocking on their front door. Searching for a job, or even wanting to join the military. How about handling an emergency and needing to call 911? Hi, my name is Brittany Carter, and my persuasive speech today is going to be on American Sign Language. A long time ago, the deaf were considered dumb, and still till this day, deaf people are discriminated against. Most hearing people do not give deaf people the time of day. For instance, jobs. Most employers think that it would be a waste of time to hire a deaf person because either it will be a waste of time, it will be a waste of time to hire a deaf person because they won't understand instructions, or it will cost the company too much money to hire an interpreter. Also, ordering coffee or going out to eat. Most employees won't take 5 seconds to let a deaf person write down their order. These employees will most likely speak very loud and very slow. Come on, deaf people obviously can't hear you screaming at them. To me, this is just rude and very childish. I think that people who are unfamiliar with the deaf culture need to acknowledge that the deaf are not dumb, uneducated, or don't understand the English language, because they do. Hearing people need to learn and understand what deaf people have to go through to simply order a cup of coffee. The deaf are being misjudged and discriminated against, and it needs to stop now. If the country did not change their perspective on deaf people, eventually deaf people would become unemployed, uneducated, and this would all because the hearing people rejected them from this world. Things are not great now, so think about how things would be in 20 years. It would be very hard for deaf people, but thankfully for technology, life has become much easier for deaf people, such as communication and cochlear implants. Communication technology would be like a TTY, which is a telephone typewriter. Also texting. Texting is a huge communication device as well. Video relay service, which is a deaf person needs to call a hearing person for business or vice versa. There is an interpreter on the TV who speaks English and is also fluent in American Sign Language. Video phone, which has been advertised for iPhones lately, which is a phone call, but instead both people can see each other. Therefore, both people can sign to each other. Video phone is probably number 1 or number 2 in popularity for the deaf to communicate to one another. For hearing people to understand the deaf culture, or for people who might even be interested in learning American Sign Language, there are classes that can be taken. There are also tons of deaf events each month, such as deaf coffee chats at Starbucks, silent dinners, deaf Wii bowling, deaf happy hour, movies with captions, pumpkin carving, and ornament decorating. Also, there are many deaf clubs where you can meet deaf people, hearing people, hard of hearing, children with deaf parents, students both hearing and deaf. These events are so much fun and very informational. I actually attend many of these deaf events, and I always have a blast every event I attend. I always meet new people and learn a new sign every time I go. The most recent deaf event I attended, some classmates and I went to Bowl of America for a deaf event. There were about 100 people there. People such as deaf, hearing, hard of hearing, children, adults, and students. Everyone bowled about 3 games, so we were there for a pretty long time. The event had half the bowling alleys reserved, and everyone had a great time. I met a girl named Lucy. She is deaf, and she is actually going to school to become a deaf lawyer. I thought that this was very amazing and courageous for her to accomplish this dream of hers. I think that any deaf event that you could attend would be a great eye-opener and give you some experience on how the deaf communicate. It is very interesting to watch, and maybe someday you might even want to learn the language and culture. I think that hearing I think that the hearing world needs to attend a few of these deaf events, and hopefully the hearing will be more compatible with the deaf culture. This concept would help the deaf and hearing in many ways. I think that only positive outcomes would come from this. Thank you.
Yay!